Okay, this brings to order the February 28, 2019 Zoning Board of Appeals public hearing. We have some adjournments. Number 3026 and number 3030. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Second, aye. Aye. Okay. Okay, pending decisions. Case number 3014, Zero Squabble Lane.
I move that this decision made a part of the record as written.
Second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You voted?
Yes.
Okay. Pending cases. We have, we're going to skip one and go to 3010, McDonald's USA. Can I have that file, sir?
Morning, Chairman, member of the, evening, Chairman, member of the boards.
Cool.
You guys a second? You all set?
Oh, yeah.
All right. My name is Andrew Stecker. I'm with Brown and Altman, representing the applicant. Before we get started, I'd like to submit for the board a copy of the revised site plans that were previously submitted in full size on February 19th for your review. In addition, we are submitting a revised traffic report based on the comments from Nelson and Pope that reflect the left turn egress on the North Sea Road.
You have a copy of that for the team?
Absolutely.
I'll share one with you.
This is yours, right? There's more than one there.
One for everyone?
Yeah. One or two.
Well, it doesn't seem to be.
He's got them, so that whole thing is for the file.
Oh, okay.
Just, I'll share with you.
Okay.
Are these different than the submission you made
On the 14th, I'm sorry, 19th?
19th?
No, the site plan drawings are the same drawings.
Okay, so what you're submitting here is just a reduced copy.
Correct, just for reference.
Rotate that so we're looking at it correctly?
Oh, I'm sorry, if you're putting it on camera, I have a large copy of that. I make this easier.
You're gonna wanna face it toward the front.
Okay. Keep this short and to the point. This is a follow-up hearing based on the comments received at the January 24th hearing, at which it was requested that the site plan include striping for pedestrians walking from the parking area to the front door, which is in front of the drive-through, which we have included. We've also included the stop bar in front of the pay window, and just above that as well, a fence marked off to direct pedestrians to the crosswalk.
Where's the fence?
It's that black bar just to the left and north of, or above the crosswalk. I can point it out. Oh, go right ahead. Actually, if we turn to drawing C 4.1, you'll see it's marked out as AJ. There you go.
That narrows the spot where pedestrians can cross over that spot.
Correct. So those are the only carryover comments from the January 24th hearing. In addition, I know this board was waiting on comments from Nelson and Pope, which our office received in full maybe 3 hours ago. We are, prepared to respond to those in connection with the planning board application, which, as per the Nelson and Pope report, is recommended for April 1st, obviously contingent on, our application here. If the board has any questions, I've got our traffic expert and architect here to answer any questions.
I have a question as to semi-trucks that deliver to McDonald's. I think they park on North Sea Road.
I'm not aware of that.
I've seen them parked in the back.
Sometimes they park in the backs.
I've seen them in the
I think it's
back,
pump
yeah.
trailers. I've never seen a big,
I have, but maybe that's not common. Okay, never mind.
Okay, no problem.
Park in the back.
Yeah, there's lots of room back there.
Yeah, I know.
Have you gentlemen had a chance to review any of these comments from Nelson and Pope?
Briefly this morning, my understanding upon reviewing the report is that they were largely notational in nature and would be addressed in conjunction with the planning board hearing.
Site plan review.
Yes.
I don't know if the board has reviewed that memo dated February 27th from Kathy Eisman.
Yeah, I suspect you guys probably haven't, or just received it as
But
early
I
as we
would
did.
somewhat agree that what has been raised by Nelson and Pope are more technical site plan issues, and unless this board is concerned about the traffic analysis about increase in the left-hand turns onto North Sea Road.
And it looks like that's what's addressed in this updated traffic memo from
Right.
February 26th.
That's correct, and just a small clarification that North Sea Road is a village road rather than county.
That seems to be the issues that were raised here.
I
So
wouldn't be concerned because they're not going to increase the customer base. They've had the same customers for years and years and years. That's not going to go up unless you get a whole influx of brand new people in town. I doubt that.
We've never heard of McDonald's.
Well, you get a lot of, seasonal workers that come and go through McDonald's.
Yeah, but that's happened over the years, too.
Yeah.
Goes up and down.
Well, the traffic's going to increase, so they wouldn't be putting this in. The emphasis is on takeout, increasing your takeout
Increasing
orders.
the speed of the takeout to get people in and out faster. That's
That's right.
Perfect.
the main
Yeah.
reason for this, right?
Correct, and if,
Then you can have more people.
right, if you refer to the
Yeah,
traffic
shorter lines.
report, there's a conservative estimate of how much increase there is in traffic going through the drive-through, and as provided by our traffic expert, it doesn't seem to be something that would be a cause for concern.
Okay. Is anywhere in these plans are the signs that I requested portrayed?
The,
I had signs asking in Spanish and English that they take care of our community and not throw the stuff out the window.
yes, I believe those were submitted at the prior
I
hearing.
think so.
Yes.
they're on the
I
plan.
don't know where I see them on the plan.
I believe they're on the plan.
Okay,
That came up last month.
okay.
Did you submit a copy of this, to Nelson Pope? The traffic update letter? February
No, we
26th?
we received that today. So there you go, now it's submitted to Nelson and Pope. If this board has no further questions, we ask that you respectfully grant this application. And that's all we have for you.
We have things to review, is that so?
If you want us to look at that in response to the comments that we generated, we can do that.
What do you think? You want to close for decision?
My understanding is that, again, the question was where these comments were more technical in nature related to site plan review. And the issue here is the expansion of the building to the rear and The change in the queuing is really a site plan element, and it wasn't really a zoning question. So the only relief that's being asked for is the expansion of the building. And the reason for the variances is because the existing building doesn't meet the current front yard setback. So although they're related to the issue, certainly you have enough information here. You could keep this open for written comments up to your work session. And if Nelson and Pope has anything else, I would suspect that it would also be coordinated with them because it's the same issue being addressed at the planning board. So what I'm thinking is these same issues related to traffic and some of the other issues are all being addressed by the planning board, and you could condition your approval on that site plan review and resolving those issues as well.
Meaning we close for decision pending more information, or what?
Or, yeah, have any written comments
Said
or
written
otherwise from...
comments up until the work session.
Right, okay. So is anybody going to move to close for decision
Better get
pending?
the audience.
I'm sorry, does anybody in the audience have something to say?
I move we close this for decision pending written comments up to the work session, which is on March 19th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Pardon me. Which one you gonna do now?
Which one are we going to do?
Gonna do Flanagan?
Oh, he has to get up there.
Well, what does he have, though? Does he has, oh, he doesn't. Mr. Flanagan, what case do you have under pending?
Before.
James Gleason, which is
Okay. I will hear that now. Case number 3012 for the applicant. 3018.
the applicant Gilbert G. Flanagan, 21 South Main Street, Southampton. This application was heard a couple of months ago and closed for decision, but I understand there was still some concerns about the nature and scope of some of the relief, particularly as it related to the size and location of the proposed swimming pool. So having heard those comments, we have modified the plans twice, actually, and reduced the swimming pool considerably in accordance with the information I submitted in my letter of February 15th, which I assume you have had a chance to look at. I can go through the changes briefly if you'd like, just so that you can have them for the record. On the 15th of February, we submitted a new site plan, which shows the swimming pool has been reduced in size considerably. It's set back 3.5 feet further from the street. In fact, the garage was also set back slightly further and reduced in size. So the pool is now only 10 feet wide and 23.8 feet long. The pool is now only 241 square feet in area. It was actually reduced 35.3% from the size it was before. Important to note on the site plan, if you look at it, that the 58% of it is actually in a conforming location, so we think that we've made an improvement there. We've also increased the setback of the proposed pool from the new garage and the house to 7 feet on each side. So we think we've addressed the concerns that I understand you members had. We hope that we can move forward with the application. The architect is here if you should have any questions.
Any questions?
We saw the plans at the work session.
Right.
And they did reduce the size of the pool. I think you changed the setback from the house
Yes,
and the garage.
Yep.
7 and 7.
7 and 7, right.
And we ascertained that the entrance was not directly into the 7-foot space between the house and the pool. It goes around.
Goes out to the south side instead of to the east side.
I'm sorry, run that by me again?
The entrance,
There was ingress and egress from the house.
Oh, I see.
We were worried about that it opened up right into the 7-foot area of the pool, maybe a little too close. However, it takes a right angle,
Yes, it does.
so that
Right,
attenuates the situation.
that's correct.
Okay, what is your pleasure? Close for decision?
Yes.
Public comment, or-
Anybody from the audience have anything to say? Any motions to close for decision?
I move we close this for decision.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
That was, okay, fine, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I understand Mr. Flanagan has new case number 2, and I have to recuse myself on that, so if you
Okay.
wanted to take him and have Bo, and then jump to the spur.
I will. Okay, I'm going to call it a new case, case number 3032, 86 Pine Street.
For the applicant, Gilbert G. Flanagan, 21 South Main Street, Southampton, I have an affidavit of posting and an affidavit of mailing that I'll hand up for the board. I want to start out by saying that today I became aware of a letter that was submitted to the village building office questioning whether or not the use of the building in question as a retail shop had been abandoned. Obviously, this is a relatively new question that's been posed to me. I can tell you that my client is a contract vendee of the property, and some of the conditions of the contract are that this building in fact be a retail shop. There's a C of O in the village building office, which you have a copy of, that indicates it's a retail shop. But given the fact that that issue has been raised, and I suspect that you may be looking for some evidence as to the status of that use, I think it would make sense for us to have the opportunity to get more information from the seller on this, because obviously I'm representing the contract vendee, and the seller has owned the property for some time. So I think the major thrust of what I want to say tonight is that we would request an adjournment for all purposes of this application, unless you have any particular questions, so that I don't take up your time going through the merits of it if the abandonment issue is really an issue. And I'm not sure that it is, but I want to have the chance to look into it.
Any questions from the board?
It's going to have to check out whether it's been abandoned or not, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So is there a motion to adjourn for all purposes?
Get the audience on this one? No, not by number 2.
Anybody from the audience want to speak to this? We have a motion to adjourn for all
We
purposes.
have somebody coming up.
Oh, sorry.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn for all purposes.
So we're on hold here.
Let's see. Jim McFarland, my residence is on Lang, but I own the property a couple hundred feet away from this. And I'm not sure how you're going to decide. We're certainly happy to see new owners do improvements. However, the building in question hasn't been a retail business for at least 10 years and probably 20. As I can remember very well, 40 years ago exactly, I tried to buy something in the store, and it was only open on Saturdays for about an hour or something. Since then, I've been keeping an eye on it because I drive by there about 10 times a day, and it's not a retail shop. However, you know, you're going to give them some sort of relief, which is probably appropriate, but it's not a retail shop. If you're starting with that, that's a falsehood. I'm surprised that anybody in this village would even consider saying, that's a retail shop. It's a former retail building. And don't forget parking, because the previous Southampton Board of Trustees decided to make Pine Street one-way, because I guess they were envious of all the other cities that had one-way streets. We didn't have any, so now we have one. And now we have, in the summer, in case anyone has never purchased anything at Citarella's, in German they call it Verkehrschaos, a total traffic chaos because of that one-way street that the previous Board of Trustees put in their far-sighted thinking and correctness.
I think it had to do with the school more than anything else.
The?
I think it had to do with the school being there more than anything else.
I'm sure you're right about that, but I like my viewpoint better.
Anybody else? So, can we entertain a motion?
I move that we approve the applicant's
Request for
request to
adjournment.
adjourn for all purposes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, we have case number 3007, the Spur. For the applicant,
David Gilmartin Jr., Farrell Fritz, 50 Station Road, Watermill, New York. Now, we appeared before you some months ago. We have gone back to drawing board, redone the plans, sort of changed the team that was doing the plans. We have a site plan application into the planning board, and we've been working with them. We also submitted an EAF as part of that application, and Kathy Eisman from Nelson Pope and Voorhees has reviewed that. She has suggested to us, and we agree, that the planning board, ZBA, and health department coordinate under seeker. It's my understanding and experience with this board that you would prefer that the planning board take lead agency in that process. I don't think I've ever seen you take lead agency. So tonight we're going to ask you just to pass an oral resolution that agrees to coordinate the secret process with the planning board and the health department, and that you would like the planning board to be designated as lead agents. I'm not sure that it's a good use of your time for us to get into the argument on the variances, because I'm not sure that they will be the ones when we come out of the secret process. So, instead of going through those, I would just ask that you adopt that resolution. I know that the property has been the subject of some newspaper stories. I have Mr. Heather, who is the principal at the Spur. I'd ask him just to quickly describe how the property will be used, and then address the issues that have been raised in the newspaper articles. And then if you have any questions, we're certainly happy to answer. But we'd ask that you adopt that resolution so we can get the secret process going.
Thank you, David. Good evening, gentlemen. Is this working? No, don't need it. So the Spur is a first of its kind, certainly in Southampton. It's not an unusual business in many other places around the country. And it's really a combination of two existing business models. One is a co-working space. You might have heard of a business called WeWork, which is probably the biggest company in this space. There are dozens, if not hundreds of others, doing something similar, providing office facilities for workers in a commingled space. So people have common resources instead of having dedicated spaces. They work together on big open tables. It's more efficient, it's more cost effective for people to work that way, and it's how generally most people under the age of 40 now are used to working, with headphones on in front of a computer, getting whatever work it is that they require. And so the Spur is part co-working space, and it's also part restaurant and wellness space, again, creating an integrated environment where people can work, but they can also stay healthy, eat healthy, all in kind of under one roof. That's essentially what the Spur is. Again, there are many of them in the city and other areas, metro areas. It is certainly the first out here. We're excited by it. We've been working out of a temporary location since May of last year. We have about 150 people who are users. We call them members, but users of the facility. And we're opening a second location in East Hampton that will be open in about 3 weeks. Similar square footage, similar size to what we have going on right now in Southampton at the train station. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the Spur itself, of kind of what it is as a business, if you have any.
okay, so it's working, and it's wellness, and nutrition, and fun. Is there alcohol served too?
Yeah, liquor license, yeah, there's alcohol. Has a bar, restaurant, yes.
Are you envisioning rooftop activities still?
Rooftop activities on the space itself. I mean, it has an outside, yeah, so restaurant, it will have an outdoor restaurant area on top of the building. Yep, on the second floor.
In order to use the restaurant and the bar, do you have to be a member?
We're currently undecided of what the rule is going to be. It
Can you
could
just
go.
walk in off the street?
So from a planning point of view, we're going through that process. We're designing it to be open to the public, providing the accesses and so forth. It may not open that way. It may be certain times of the day it's open for members only, and certain times it's open to the public. We're still going through some of that kind of capacity planning and trying to figure that out. But from a planning point of view, we're imagining it's open to the public in terms of parking capacity and so forth.
All right. Any other comments? We look forward to.
Yep. I'm happy to address any of the newspaper articles and the liveliness that's going on. It's all, as far as I'm aware, being resolved. I met with Bruce today. There are no issues with rent or an ongoing dispute. I think it was unfortunate how some of that stuff was used in the press. But
You met with Bruce. Is that the landowner?
Lewin, correct? Yes, correct. Yeah, we paid our rent again for March. We're fully up to date on our rent and commitments financially to him. So. That's all I have to say.
This building is still closed. This is not open.
Oh, no,
Over by
it's-
the railroad station.
Correct.
At the
Railway station is
McLaughlin
open at McLaughlin's building. That is
Is that
correct.
large enough for what you want to do right
No,
now?
that's why we're building this building. Yeah, we're already at capacity in the McLaughlin building. Yep. Is there something else? No? Okay. Thank you.
So my discussions with Kathy Eisman, I think that we would ask that we come back here at the end of May. That would be a date that I think that we could hit where we'd have the secret process far enough along that we could then address this board in a fully comprehensive way. So we'd ask to be adjourned to then, but please adopt the resolution that, again, coordinates secret and designates the planning board as lead agency. That would be helpful for us if you did that tonight.
I'm probably going to ask you to repeat those words so I don't mess it up when I make the motion.
Okay.
So we need a motion to,
I need the audience.
anybody from the audience like to speak?
Mr. Chairman,
Motion,
usually, and Bo represents the planning board, so usually the planning board would send a coordinated review letter, include this agency as an involved agency,
right.
and also send that to the health department. So I don't know, I mean, I haven't reviewed an EAF on behalf of the zoning board of appeals, so I don't know if you would actually do the coordination, but what you could possibly do is in advance of, or in anticipation of, the planning board's referral letter, indicate you have no objection to the planning board becoming lead agency. Does that make sense, Bo?
I think it makes better sense. I'm trying to look at the time frame here, Rooney. I mean, notwithstanding the result of this motion or not, but the planning board meets in work session on, it meets in formal session on Monday, the 4th, and I presume you'll be there to make this request.
I've had the discussion with Kathy Eisman, and this was a process that we put out. And yes, we expected that we would be able to schedule a public hearing for the April meeting, and then continue it or do what we need to do at the May meeting. There are limited issues seeker-wise, and she's looking at an unlisted action, with traffic being the one thing that we had to look at. We submitted.
Possibly sanitary flow?
We believe that we have that covered pretty, and obviously you have to go through the health department process to do that, but it was the traffic that was the issue that she identified as why it would be an unlisted action, what had to be studied. And we did put in a letter from a traffic engineer that is being reviewed by your office now. So, the resolution that we're asking to do is sort of a sense resolution that would allow the planning board to get started.
But the planning board still has, as Check points out, the planning board still has to make the request for lead agency to this.
I understand. That's why I called it a sense resolution, but at least my discussion with Kathy this afternoon was that this would be a way to go to get the planning board.
The trouble is I haven't had a chance to talk with Kathy about it.
I think
How does it not advance your position by just having this board have a resolution that, based upon the present documentation, that has no apparent objection to it at this time? I haven't reviewed the documentation myself.
I mean, however you want to word it.
Well, let's just say then the resolution would be under present circumstances, the Board of Appeals has no objection to the planning board assuming lead agency status under SEQA.
And coordinating.
And
Well, that's going to be up to the planning.
That's up to the planning board.
All right, any further comments?
No.
Can we have a motion saying that we have no objection to the planning board?
Assuming lead agency status
Agency
under
status.
secret.
In coordination with the Board of Health. You want that in it too?
No.
No, and the planning board engaging in coordinated review. Is that
Yeah. So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Okay.
You don't think you'll be back here until May, Rooney?
Yes, please. I think that's a good target date. I don't want to put it on the calendar for April. I don't know that we'll be completed by then.
So do we have to adjourn?
So you have a motion to adjourn for all purposes.
Motion to adjourn for all purposes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll bring Mr. Bruin back. Thank you,
Like we only got one more case.
See you, Bud.
Thank you.
Danielson, he probably not even here.
But there's an omission, perhaps.
Which one? 405
SC,
405 Captain Nick Lane was not posted.
oh, that's right. I would say that. Is Mr. Danielson here?
Yes.
Ah, there you are. 3012, John Danielson, 30 Sanford Place.
I think the only thing that I have that you were questioning the last time I was here is the location of the septic system. Squares and Holden had planned to put it in the driveway. We'd still like to do that if that were possible, or move it back further in the driveway. The other option is to put it where the cesspool or whatever we have there is now.
Mr. Danielson, can I just ask, because you weren't here in the last few meetings, and it's been a while, could you maybe go back and summarize what exactly you're asking for? Because I'm a little confused. I look at the application, and there's a couple sketches, and then there's this full survey that shows a parking lot. This plan that you submitted to the zoning board.
Okay.
Well, before you talk about it, you can go put it on the table if you want. So I think it would be good for you to go back and summarize exactly what you're asking for the board to approve here.
Well, the last time I was here, we covered that, I think, was the parking situation of having, it had been drawn to have a whole lot of parking in the backyard and so forth. And we determined that we really only need 3 spaces most of the time. The acupuncturist downstairs has 1 client at a time. So his car and 1 or 2 others in the driveway, and the driveway accommodates that. So I think I gave you pictures of that, which is what is on this. On this.
So are you proposing this plan?
I'm proposing, yeah, it shows 3, it shows 3 parking spaces, right? That was the proposal.
It shows more than that. It shows a parking lot in the rear of the building.
No, that's what I'm asking. That's not what I'm planning. I gave you copies of it last time of what I'm planning. This is not it. I didn't see that. This is the one that I do not want. It doesn't make any sense for the.
So do you have a survey of the plan that you want?
I gave it to you people last time.
Is this what you're talking about? So you don't have a full survey, you just have.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Right.
Okay. So you don't have a plan or a survey like that other than this extra?
It covers the whole property. That does. Okay. No, this is not. This is what I'm seeking a variance from. There's no reason to have all these parking
And the
spaces.
variance is because you have a certificate of occupancy for a dwelling,
That's correct.
2-family wood dwelling,
That's correct.
and you're proposing
I've
to change.
submitted to the planning board and so forth, all this material. The zoning, I got to you folks, as I understand, because of the driveway.
We wanted
So
you to
bear
read-
with me 1 second. I just want to help you through what your request is so the board can fully understand and I can understand. So the existing two-family dwelling right now has what, one dwelling on the first floor, one dwelling on the second floor?
It has a dwelling on the second floor. Joshua's place was there. That was illegal. Anyhow, there's an acupuncturist there. I'm trying to make that legal. He has one client at a time. And I, what I submitted the last time was this. We only need 3 parking spaces. I don't have a car.
So let's just walk through that in a second. So the acupuncturist is a medical office, and that's occupying the first floor in its entirety?
And
How many square
I brought a
feet?
floor plan the last time.
How many square feet?
I think it's 1,440 square feet, I believe.
And how many
submitted that.
parking spaces is required for that office use under the zoning code?
I don't know that right now. I worked with Squares and Holden on this, and he drew this up because this here is what would be legal, but it doesn't make any sense for the occupant that is there. And that's why I'm requesting a variance.
Okay,
He
have
parks
you,
his car, he has 2 clients. Nobody else has a car there. I'm only out here on weekends in the summer.
We had a question about certificate of occupancy.
And I gave you, I sent those the last time. You should have those.
Yeah, we have it right here, but
Okay.
it says it's a two-family house.
I know
So
that. That's what you requested, and that's what I'm trying to get a variance on.
You want a variance from the two-family house,
As it's set right now, yes.
so the first floor can be used for medical purposes.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I went all this through the planning board.
But that's a use variance, isn't it, Wayne?
well, no. The
zoning is there, right?
Zoning is office district, so the office use actually is a permitted use, so it would be a move towards conformity by converting the residence, second residence to office. What I'm understanding and what is being expressed is that the parking requirements for an office use. So currently, there's 2 residences, and I believe the code would require 2 parking spaces for each residence, a total of 4. We're now converting what appears to be 1,400-plus square feet into office, and medical offices, I believe, require 1 space per 150 square feet. There may be a calculation there. And so there's a requirement of like 10 spaces, and Mr. Danielson is asking you to give a variance of not having 10 spaces, but to keep 3 in the existing driveway only.
I don't think we've ever done that.
That brings up the problem if the current occupant of the first floor moves out and somebody else comes
Then
in that
we
has a
would
higher
come-
volume.
Right.
Then we would discuss that when that happens.
Well, more importantly is that
work that way.
part of, if you haven't examined the legal test that this board has to apply, one of the parts of the legal test is whether or not you can comply to the code. And what you've done, and that's why I ask, is that plan that you've submitted shows that you can not necessarily get all the parking on the property, but you can get a good number of parking spaces that goes towards compliance.
Wouldn't he have to pay for those that he can't do?
Well, you wouldn't pay.
Don't we still have the $8,000 per parking
Because you
space
have
fee?
some pre-existing, so you wouldn't have to necessarily apply for the 2 that were for the existing dwelling, although you're modifying those.
Is he going to put the parking in the back of the property?
Well, that's what that plan shows.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need 10 spaces.
I'm here for a variance for a logical reason, okay? As it is now, there is no need for that kind of parking. To take up the whole backyard, the reason I have a summer house out here is to use the grass in the backyard.
We
and
don't
so
think
forth.
like that. We
I know
think
you
that
don't.
Going to the future, the use might change, so the parking.
Well, then if that happens, then we would have to come to you and we would do what we need to do.
Well, you're talking about something this board can or cannot take into account in future enforcement, but as Mr. Zahusky was indicating, is that we have to look at not necessarily what you're doing today, because tomorrow you could sell this, it could go to another occupant, there could be a different office use, and right now, our code, the parking requirements were based on the average number of parking spaces that those uses require. And so that you could easily interchange occupants and their use, and we would have sufficient off-street parking to accommodate that parking requirements. The issue here is the intent is there's not adequate on-street parking, and the code requires it all to be accommodated on your property. That plan that you show doesn't accommodate all 10 spaces that are required, but it's more than the 3 that you're requesting. So that's a difficulty that this board has to overcome. And my recommendation, you're not an attorney, correct?
No.
An architect or professional or otherwise, my suggestion is you might want to consult a professional that deals with these issues that this board has to deal with. Because I think you're hearing from this board, they have difficulty overcoming the fact that you can accommodate at least 6 of the spaces on the property, or 8, whatever the number is you show there, but you could accommodate that, and that's more conforming than what you're proposing with the 3.
But the other issue there is if you're going to put the parking in the back, you might have different zones. In other words, you have a commercial use that backs up to a residential use. There's side yard or backyard issues that come, the buffer, when you're searching for the word.
Well, the zoning buffer is not, this is all office district,
Transitional
all
yard.
Sides.
Right.
So, but there are residences nearby, so screening or fencing, things like that, you may want to,
Well, we've been through it on Hampton Road a couple of times. This is why you might want to hire somebody that can look
Okay.
at what was done.
I'll do that.
My understanding is the planning board has similar issues.
Okay.
Because if you get relief from this board and it involves improving or providing off-street parking, you need to go to the planning board and have a formal site plan where they will engineer and determine the specifications for the paving or otherwise, striping, screening, lighting, whatever else may be required.
Okay. I was working with the planning board, and they sent me here because of the driveway, as I understand it.
Well, I think
I
they
had
sent you
submitted-
here
I
because
had
you
worked
need a
with them on
variance. But I
several-
think that before you get to the planning board, you have to prove or demonstrate to this board that
I've
you're
been to the
entitled.
planning board, and they sent me here.
I understand that, but at some point, if you can demonstrate to this board you're entitled to a variance, you may need to go back to the planning board for the site plan review.
So this is your...
Correct.
Your
If I could have that back, I appreciate it.
Well, I'll have to get someone to get involved.
Absolutely, I would highly
Okay.
recommend that.
Okay.
Does this plan address the relocation of the septic system, which I can't?
It doesn't, I'm not sure that it does. What I showed you last time
This
with the
plan does.
driveway, that plan does. And it's in the driveway, and you suggested that that
Okay.
wasn't a good thing. The reason it was done is not to tear up the yard, and he said, Richard at Squires and Holden drew it that way because he thought that would be the most efficient.
Okay.
My suggestion would be if we did the driveway, and you may not like that, would be to move it further back. Or where the current septic cesspool or whatever's there now, which you regard as inadequate, is right at the end of the driveway in the back lawn. My problem in the lawn is I have a sprinkler system, which was going to have to be all torn up if we tear up the backyard, but we could deal with that, I guess.
So in sum, I guess we have a problem with the parking regulations and the future, really.
Okay.
So if you could find a way to get some parking in there, and that would be good.
Okay.
Now, have you ever considered those parking pavements that grass go through? So you have a green
I know where we're at, and that's why I'm I'm looking at it logically, and I know that the zoning thing is a whole different thing.
It kind of is, because we deal with the future. What happens when the group therapy people want to go in there? That means more than one person.
Yeah, I know.
I think what you're hearing is the thought that maybe there's a different specification for the parking, like the grass pavers, that might make it look more residential, and it may be perhaps less expensive.
But the thing is, it's never going to be used in its current situation.
Today it won't, but as the board has indicated, tomorrow may be different.
It's going to be sold tomorrow. You
Well,
get the
not
variance and
I'm
then
not
sell it.
We're not planning to do that.
No, but it happens.
How's your health? Good.
My health is good. Anyhow, today anyway. I'll check with my doctor.
So how much time do you think you need to consult somebody or?
Well, I don't know that. I have to find somebody to consult.
So this board's schedule is that we meet in 1 month, and usually we'd like to hear from you by the time of the work session, which would be March
Okay,
19th.
let me work toward that, okay? And you're the end of the month is when your next meeting is?
Fourth
The end
Thursday.
of
Fourth Thursday, yes.
March,
The 28th of March.
28th of March, okay.
So the point is I think the board can adjourn it to that date, but if you're not ready, or with your professional or otherwise are not ready, it would be good for you before the 19th to submit a letter asking for an extension
Okay.
to the next meeting.
Okay.
So that way you wouldn't have to appear or otherwise.
Okay, let's do that, all right?
All righty.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn for all purposes?
I move we adjourn for all purposes.
I'll
Case
second.
number,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye. Are we gonna do something with Knock Mommy?
No, not
I don't see anyone here, but we did receive a submission.
Benaki.
Right, we had closed that for for decision previously. So I think, based on what I took a quick look at, I expect I can have a wetland decision if you're comfortable with that.
Well,
They did reduce the size of the steps. We talked about this at work session.
Yeah,
And they increased the planting area, and they increased the diversity of plantings.
well, a couple of us were concerned about the roof.
I believe Wayne spoke to the attorney about that. I don't know if he's had a chance to look at it, but I had understood they took out that access. Let's just take a look.
You have the plans there. You might want to, while we have the time. I know Mark picked up on something we all missed before
We'll do that.
about potential occupiable space that's in the so-called basement.
Oh, yeah. Laundry down there, you said?
Yeah, I don't believe that's allowed. Unless it's secret, FEMA compliant. Of course, they'll go to GFA as Mark was mentioning.
Does that need to be reviewed by building?
We would, that's easy for them to eliminate. We'd just make it a condition that it complied with whatever the building department requirements are. Question, if you look at the second floor plan, I don't see a stairway anymore.
And then on sheet number 7, February 25th, they said removal of interior stairs to roof access.
What does the roof access look like? Do we know?
They have no interior
Can you
stairs
read
to
this,
it.
Mark, right here?
The ladder outside, or
Gotta
the
be,
stairs outside?
Floor you want?
Second floor,
Why am I
sheet 5.
looking at a different, yeah, sheet 5, second floor.
It's a walk-in closet. That's where they had the stairs before.
No,
Oh,
we need
good.
fix app with
Yeah. The mag light.
the magnet light, because I can't read what that says.
Well, the red says removal of interior stairs to roof access, reduce size of roof bulkhead, reduce stairs on rear deck.
Okay, it's,
But then
It's
that little
reduced.
box
Why is it
says
there?
access to flat roof and solar panels.
what? Okay, it's reduced, and what is it for, the bulkhead?
Yeah,
Still there.
it is still there.
Oh, I can see, reduced size of roof bulkhead. No, we had discussed eliminating it.
It does, the
Re-
note says
It says
removal of
reduced
interior
stairs.
stairs, but then the
Reduced.
plan looks like it's still there, and then you still have a bulkhead.
It says it's reduced stairs on rear deck, I'm sorry, rear deck, okay.
Maybe they just put a ladder inside or a hatch.
I thought you wanted to put the stairs on the side.
We did suggest that. I'm still, unless it's really just access to the channel, foot access, I'm not really sure the purpose. But they, as it says, they reduced the size of it.
All right, so how do we feel about the reduced bulkhead? I guess maybe they are gonna just have a hatch with a ladder.
Put a ladder in.
How high is that reduced
You could get
bulkhead?
them inside the
30
house and put
inches?
a ladder inside
That's
the
how I get to my attic.
There is a dimension
Ladder
on
goes through a hatch.
it that I can read it.
Is this 3 foot?
I don't know, it doesn't, I can't tell what it is. I'm guessing.
3 feet.
Says 3 feet?
Yeah, on sheet 7.
Oh, it looks like it bumps up then. So I thought we were just going to eliminate it.
What we were 2.
Sheet 7, it shows 3 feet.
Well, if they're gonna have access on inside the house, Mark, they could put just have a ladder going up to the bulkhead. Move the ladder in there when they need it and store the ladder when they don't need it.
Right. Yeah.
Lots of people do get to their attics that way.
Right, but this isn't an attic.
No, I know, it's a roof. But that's what the bulkhead is for, I guess.
Yeah.
It says the note is 3-foot bulkhead, removal of interior stairs to roof access. Reduce the size of the bulkhead, but what I was trying to get at is I can't understand the plan. Second floor plan, that there's access to flat roof and solar panels, but in the walk-in closet.
Where's that? What
Might be
page?
a hatch in the
What
walk-in
page you at?
closet.
Sheet 5?
Sheet 5. Ah, that's interesting. In the walk-in closet.
But there's some, I'm not sure what those lines mean. Is it a ladder or is it steps? I'm not sure.
Coat hangers.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, it's a walk-in closet.
So all there is a hatch?
It's showing the coat hangers?
That's what it looks like to me.
Oh, those little hashes? Those,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar, they're in all the closets.
They're crooked.
Lets the hangers hang in the wrong,
They're random.
So they probably have a hatch inside the walk-in closet. You open up the hatch, put a ladder up, and you're up in the bulkhead.
Right.
Could it be a pull-down thing, too?
It's kind of a pull-down thing, yeah. I have one inside my
and that
garage.
could be in the bulkhead, you know.
Yeah, it could
the
be.
reason for the bulkhead to
Right.
pull it down.
So the question is,
Pull the ladder down.
is it all right, the 3 feet, or not? That's,
It's all right with me.
No part of that 3 feet extends into the pyramid or anything, so.
not much more obtrusive than a chimney would be, I guess. Less so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I just, just remembered what we had discussed.
All right, well, compared to what it was, it's party time up there.
If they really want to get up there, they got to give it an effort.
Now, yes.
Yep.
So, do we have a decision tonight or not?
It wouldn't be tonight,
Okay.
but I believe we have enough.
Right. Okay, so we're done, right?
Yep.
So
Okay.
we're going to adjourn this one for all purposes?
Well, nobody's here. I mean, can we do that?
Keep it up for decision?
Yeah, just keep it going.
Okay.
That and Albanese are adjourned to March for a decision.
So we have
We don't have to
nothing,
do anything with it.
nothing to do. I don't think so. So, unless there are any objections, this meeting is closed. February 28, 2019.